Seth, you've made another mistake in the documents. The voice of my female boss, Manager Chloe, echoed in the office. I immediately stood up and headed towards her desk. Where's the mistake? The amount. The discount is supposed to be 15%, not 20%. But I checked with you about this the other day, Chloe, and you gave it the okay. I don't remember giving the okay for that. Don't blame your mistake on me. Correct it right away. Despite Chloe's insistence, I was sure she had given the okay. She's always like this. She changes her mind constantly and forgets what she says. But she always insists she's right and never backs down. Our boss is like her, common in every company. I'm sorry. Reluctantly, I apologized, went back to my desk, and began correcting the documents. My name is Seth. I'm 38, single, with no girlfriend. I work in sales at a cosmetics manufacturer. The cosmetics industry is predominantly female, and so is our company, with women making up 70% of the staff. There's a deep reason why I entered this industry. When I was a college student, my mother, who raised me single-handedly, passed away. She had worked at a cosmetics counter in a department store for many years, always meticulously made up every day before work. Even when her illness worsened and she was hospitalized, she never missed her daily makeup routine. When I put on my makeup and see my done-up face, it really boosts my confidence and makes me feel so happy, my mother used to say. Looking at a reflection in the large hand mirror, that's what my mom would say. Makeup isn't just for showing off to someone else, it's for women to have confidence in themselves and to live each day joyfully. My mother loved her job. She worked with conviction and pride. I wanted to be involved in the cosmetics work that my mother loved so much. Even now, 15 years after she passed away and I joined this company, I can't forget the smile on my mother's face, happy to see her made-up face in the mirror. Just as my mother said, I want to help many people enjoy makeup. That's what I think about as I work. The job is fulfilling and fun, but my manager Chloe has always been a thorn in my side. She is 42, 4 years my senior, and had been in a different department up until 3 months ago when a personnel transfer made her my supervisor. Since then, she's taken every chance to scold me, sometimes even with a mean spirit. She's married and likes to poke fun at me for being single. It's concerning to be single at 38. Do you have a personality defect or something? She said to me once. That's none of your business and quite rude, don't you think? I retorted, but she wouldn't listen. What's that tone? I'm just stating facts. Are you talking back to your boss? I was just dumbfounded by her audacity. One night, like always, Chloe ordered me to work overtime, and I was left alone in the office late into the night. The work she dumped on me was voluminous, and it was deep into the night before I knew it, with the last train almost due. Oh no, it's so late. I can't stay here all night. I need to get home before the trains stop. In a rush, I closed up the office and headed to the nearest station. When did it start raining? Good thing I brought my fold-up umbrella. With my umbrella up, I hurried to the station and bumped into someone at the ticket gate. Sorry. No, my fault, I'm sorry, the woman I bumped into replied. The person I bumped into was a woman in her 30s, wearing a suit, drenched from head to toe. She must have been caught in the rain without an umbrella. As I went through the gate, an announcement indicated the last train had just left. I was so close, yet I didn't make it. No choice but to leave the station and head for the taxi stand. There, the woman I had bumped into earlier was walking in the same direction. When I got in line for a taxi, she lined up right behind me. Her hair was dripping wet, and she looked very cold. I wanted to do something for her but had no towel to offer, so I stood there, feeling concerned but helpless. When my turn came, and the taxi arrived, I addressed the woman behind me. If you'd like, please go ahead of me. Really? Are you sure? Yes, you're so drenched, you should get home quickly. Thank you so much. She bowed deeply and got into the taxi. Watching the taxi drive away, I hoped she wouldn't catch a cold. A few days later, as usual, I arrived at work only to be greeted by Chloe shouting, "Seth, because of you, an important deal has been ruined." "What happened?" "Don't play dumb. The materials you prepared were for the wrong product." Theo from the client side was furious. "But I'm sure I prepared the exact materials for the product you told me, Chloe." However, Chloe insisted it was my mistake and wouldn't budge. "Just prepare new materials right away. As soon as they're ready, we're going to apologize to them. I don't know if they'll forgive us, but hurry up." So, I had no choice but to redo the materials. Once ready, I headed to the client's company with Chloe. The company was the head office of a popular retail chain among young people. Chloe was presenting there to get our products placed in their stores. Theo, the person in charge, frowned upon seeing us. "If it's about yesterday's matter, we've already decided on another manufacturer. Please leave." "Please don't say that. Just take a look at the materials at least, please." With that, Chloe bowed her head. I bowed mine as well. "I'm terribly sorry about yesterday. We've prepared new materials. Please, take a moment to consider them." But Theo wouldn't even take the materials. "We don't need them. Just go back, please." That's when it happened. "President Tyler, how are you?" Theo suddenly bowed to someone behind us. I instinctively turned around, and there she was, the woman I had given my taxi to the other day. "You're the person from the other day." She looked at me with wide eyes. "President Tyler, do you know him?" Theo asked, and she nodded emphatically. That lady was the president of this company. I was stunned in disbelief. "This gentleman helped me out when I was in a lot of trouble," she said, looking at me again. Do you have a moment to spare?" she asked. "Yes, of course," I replied. I sent Chloe back first and followed the lady. She led me to the president's office. "Please come in," she invited me in. That's when she formally introduced herself. "I'm Hannah Tyler, and the president of this company," she said. "I'm Zach from Candid Cosmetics." I introduced myself. We exchanged business cards. "I can't believe you're the president here. What a coincidence," I said. "It really is a surprise to meet you here again." I was quite startled, Hannah said, looking at the business card I had given her. "Seth, I would really like to thank you again for yesterday. Would you care to join me for dinner tonight?" she offered. "That's a bit much for just letting you go first in the taxi line," I said modestly. "No, it's not an exaggeration at all. I was caught in the rain unexpectedly that day and was so embarrassed to be soaking wet. Thanks to you, I was able to get home quickly, and it really helped me out. Please, let me treat you to dinner, just this once." She insisted with such sincerity that I found it hard to refuse. And after all, she was the president of a crucial business partner. Reluctantly, I accepted her dinner invitation. I returned to my company, finished my work on time, and went to the meeting place. According to Chloe, Hannah looks to be in her 30s but is actually 45 and single. She started her own company when she was young and has grown it significantly, a true career woman. The restaurant she had chosen was an upscale French restaurant. After giving my name, I was led to a private room where Hannah was already waiting. "I apologize for keeping you waiting." "No, I just got here myself." "I'm honored to be invited to such a nice place." "No worries. I'm the one who should be thankful to you, Seth. It's just a token of my gratitude." Gratitude? For something as simple as giving up my spot in the taxi line. As I voiced my confusion, her expression turned a bit sad. "Let's order something to drink and toast. While we eat, let's talk at our leisure." With that, I ordered red wine from the server. Hannah chose a white wine. Before long, our drinks and dishes arrived, and we toasted. The food was exquisitely flavored, like nothing I'd ever eaten before. At first, Hannah made light small talk, but eventually, she started explaining why she was so grateful to me. "My mother had been hospitalized with a stroke, and on the day I met you, I got a call from the hospital that she was critical. I was at work but rushed out in a panic. Then it started to rain. I didn't have an umbrella and didn't want to waste time buying one at a convenience store, so I ran to the station in the rain. That's when she bumped into me. She missed the last train and ended up in line for a taxi. In hindsight, I should have taken a taxi from the start, but I was so flustered at the time. She said with a rueful laugh. But thanks to you letting me go first for the taxi, I was able to be there for my mother's last moments. If I had been a bit later, I wouldn't have made it. Thanks to you, I was able to talk to her and say what I needed to. She continued and took a handkerchief from her purse to dab away the tears welling up in her eyes. I'm so sorry to hear that. I don't even know the right words to offer my condolences. I was stunned to learn that my simple act of giving up a taxi had allowed her to be with her parent in their final moments. At the time, I was only worried she might catch a cold from being so drenched, but knowing now that something much more serious was happening, I'm truly glad I didn't go ahead of her that day. Anyway, I really can't thank you enough, Hannah said, bowing deeply. No, I really didn't do anything significant, but if it's okay with you, may I know about what kind of person your mother was? I asked. Her eyes, wet with tears, lit up as she looked at me. Would you really like to know? She asked. Yes, of course, I would love to know, I encouraged her. Then Hannah shared detailed memories of her mother. Her family lost her father early on, and her mother raised her single-handedly. I could really empathize with her situation because it was just like mine. Her mother was apparently a nurse. She would wake up early every day to make breakfast and lunch, and despite being tired after returning from work, she would still make dinner and take care of all the household chores like cleaning and laundry. As a child, she said she never saw her mother rest. Even on days when her mother felt unwell, she would take medicine and persevere. Seeing her mother's dedication, she was inspired to earn money and give her mother a comfortable life. At 28, she took a leap and started her own company, becoming a president. Her mother continued nursing until retirement and then supported her by taking care of the household. Why don't you hire a housekeeper with all the money you have? I enjoy taking care of you, her mother would say, continuing to do the housework. She was an excellent cook, and her homemade dishes were delicious. Hannah, busy with her work after becoming president, never had the chance to learn cooking from her mother. For Hannah's sake, her mother had written down secret recipes in a notebook. You're not good at cooking, right? That's why I've written down recipes for various dishes in this notebook, from lasagna that you've always loved, to mashed potatoes, to chili con carne. Everything you need to know to make them is right here. Thank you, Mom. After her mother fell ill with a stroke, she was unconscious and unable to communicate. But on the day she rushed to the hospital drenched from the rain, after receiving the critical notice. Mom, it's Hannah. Can you hear me? When she spoke, her mother opened her eyes and looked at her. She couldn't speak, but it seemed like she was listening to her daughter's voice. I believe my voice reached my mother in that moment, she said. Her mother had shed a single tear upon hearing her voice. I'm really glad I was able to express my gratitude to my mother for everything, she said as she dabbed her tears with a handkerchief. Hearing her story, I couldn't help but be reminded of my own mother and inadvertently began to cry as well. Seeing this, Hannah said with a voice full of tears, Seth, you're such a kind person. No, I replied. It's just that my mother also raised me by herself and passed away when I was in college, so I can really sympathize. Is that so? Please, tell me about your mother as well, she encouraged. Encouraged by her, I talked about my own mother. She listened empathetically. Then she said, Seth, I'd really like to stock your company's products in our stores. But Theo said he's already decided on another company. I can make space for it. That's within the president's discretion. Oh, but this isn't mixing personal with business. Actually, I've been personally interested in your products for a while. Could we talk about your cosmetics another time? Really? Thank you so much. This is how I managed to secure a new contract. And since it's with a popular chain store, It's bound to significantly boost our sales. When I later reported this to Chloe, she looked frustrated and said, "Seth, you did better than I expected." After that, Hannah and I went out to eat together several times, and we hit it off and started dating. She is 7 years older than me, but you wouldn't know it from her youthful beauty. She's a bit strong-willed, but also has a kind heart. I fell for her completely. And 6 months after we started dating, I gathered my courage and proposed to her. Of course, she said yes. When I handed the wedding invitation to Chloe, she was so shocked her eyes nearly popped out. Wait, you and the president are getting married. What's going on?" I didn't ask Chloe to give a speech at the wedding because I wasn't sure what she would say, so I asked the department head, Thomas, instead. Throughout the wedding, Chloe had a look of disbelief, and I couldn't help but laugh. Later, I transferred to my wife's company, became the head of the cosmetics division, and worked on developing collaboration products with famous manufacturers. Fate works in mysterious ways, and as I reflect on this, I continue to enjoy every moment with my wife.